This area is filled with negativity and people becoming increasingly violent for no apparent reason.
How do I lock the door?
We are about to be locked down inside the Antwerp Mansion. Oh my God, what is going on? Something seriously dark is lurking in the depths of this location. It is feeding off the energy here and affecting people who go down into the basement. We're in Manchester. This is the Antwerp Mansion. Built in 1840 as a private home, the Antwerp Mansion housed rich industrialists for 82 years during the rise of Victorian Manchester. At one time, it is believed the mansion was home to the Belgian consul, before being extended in 1922 and becoming a private gentleman's club. For many years, it was one of the most important clubs in Manchester, with Winston Churchill visiting on at least one occasion. The location lay abandoned for a period of time until in 2009, when it became a nightclub and eventually becoming one of Manchester's most notorious rave scenes. Now, there are these rumours of this seriously negative entity down in the basement of the Antwerp Mansion, and all those who venture down there are becoming seriously affected by it. They're emerging from the basement and coming out of the actual location itself a completely different person. Now, these people haven't had any drugs, they've not had a drop of alcohol. These are paranormal investigators as well, who are just coming out of the place a completely different person. They're becoming increasingly violent, they're having arguments, their whole persona has changed. So it'll be really interesting to see what is actually going on down there. In recent years, crime levels have drastically increased in the area, which led authorities to close the Antwerp Mansion for a short period, labelling the house as a hotspot for criminal offences such as drug use and violence. There were frequent reports of people becoming aggressive at the location, and very recently, something is having a strange effect on people down in the basement. Could something negative be feeding off the crime levels in the area, or is it just a case of alcohol and drug abuse? Now, there's a really interesting story about the Antwerp Mansion, and it involves the very tragic event where a gentleman was actually stabbed outside of the house. Now, the gentleman who stabbed him had no previous convictions of violence, he wasn't a criminal or anything like that, and we think he'd been inside the mansion at the time. Now, as he emerged, he became increasingly aggressive for no apparent reason, and it actually ended in him stabbing this other guy over something as little as a cigarette. Now, it's really interesting because of all the other stories about people becoming increasingly violent around the area. Could it be that all the events that have taken place in the Antwerp Mansion during its time as a club, people taking drugs, there would have been a lot more violence involved, other negative things happening around the area? Could this dark entity be feeding on that energy? After being welcomed into the Antwerp Mansion and having a conversation with the new owner, our research team set up an interview with two paranormal investigators who have both had experiences at the location. I was eager to find out what other investigators thought about the basement and to find out if there were other entities haunting here. It was after this interview that we realised something very strange occurred. Our microphones attached to both Beverly and Joel stopped working without any explanation, and halfway through the interview we started getting unexplained interference with our camera when talking about the basement. Guys, you've got first-hand experience of this location. Can you tell me what you've experienced here?
Well, when we did our mini investigation, the throne room upstairs, a couple of the investigators reported seeing shadows. We took a photograph of one of the investigators who was sitting in the throne, and the picture actually looks as if there's somebody sitting on the throne.
Really?
There's like an outline around the investigator, and someone bigger than him was sitting in that chair.
Wow. Guys, there is talks of something really dark being down here in the basement. What do you guys think?
In a building this old, I reckon there would be definitely something.
It's said to affect people's behaviour. People are becoming increasingly violent when they've been down there. What would you make of that?
It actually feels like it's detached from the rest of the house, because the rest of the house, even though you feel that there is constantly someone watching you, you feel that there could constantly be someone there, it's not dark and oppressive. I mean, this place has been associated for years with concerts, nightclubs, people enjoying themselves, and that's the kind of atmosphere you get from up here. But it is more sort of ominous and oppressive down in the basement.
Like something's watching you almost?
Yeah, almost like it's something to do with the land that it's on rather than the building itself.
That's crazy. Okay guys, thank you very much. Unaware of the technical issues that had just occurred during the interview, Becky and myself began our pre-investigation walk around. Is it possible that something was trying to interrupt our interview? Or was it just a simple case of technical problems? What we do know is that our equipment had no further issues, and prior to the interview we had never had problems before. It was finally time to explore the basement. There is one thing I've been wanting to do ever since we knew we were going to be doing this place, and that is go down into the basement. You ready to do this? Okay, come on.
Like a warren.
It is, it's like a maze, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that we are going to be locked inside this building tonight in the pitch black darkness.
You would do this.
I'm not...
The stories that you hear of this place and this basement. I'm nervous.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
More warrens.
So this is it. This is the place where people have seen a dark entity. They've become violent after being in here.
It's got a horrible, oppressive atmosphere down here.
Oh, I gotta check this out.
Oh my god. Oh, it's like a scene out of a horror film.
It makes you think what's